Hi, it's that idiot that has been making videos for you guys for a long time. And if I wasn't making it clear that this is an important message, I guess me standing in front of the camera might do something like that. Okay, let me just start at the beginning. And if you want to skip, you can always do that too. Let me start at the beginning. There's a video at the end of this month, very long video. I think you guys are going to really like it. Let's just say I was inspired by Pyrocynical. It's not any critical analysis, but it's a long video. Part 2. I am joining back with GAMERSUPPS. I know, Evan, you were with GAMERSUPPS, and then you were with Advanced, and now you're with GAMERSUPPS. Listen, this is the last time I'm swapping, and I have some extra good news. Every single piece of revenue that I make from GAMERSUPPS, I am donating straight to charity. It's a nonprofit that goes straight to helping kids with disabilities, whether it be mental or physical. And GAMERSUPPS is dropping $5,000 on top of that. So I will have a link to that. I will have a link to the charity. I'll have a link to everything in the description, okay? And now part 3, and a very, very quick one, because I know you guys want to get on with the video. Thorn and Last Word is the start of the videos where I start to say, hey, we're going to give away Witch Queen all the way up until the Witch Queen. That includes the 30th anniversary. That includes any platform, whether that be PC, Xbox, PlayStation, Stadia, any platform. We are going to be giving away Witch Queen to all of you guys. Wait, all of you guys? One of you guys once a week leading up to the Witch Queen, okay? So just make sure you guys are in stream when that happens. Giveaway link also in the description. Thank you guys for all the support over this time. It just means the world to me, man. Just thank you all. Anyway, enjoy the video. We spent a lot of time on it, and I hope you enjoy. Bye. One distant, abstained, in the hands of a gang of evil and chaos. The other, warm, quick, reliable, and in the hands of a hero. This is the story of Destiny's most infamous duo, the Thorn and the Last Word. Two guns that have a legacy as old as the franchise itself. The story of these two weapons is one for the ages, and is one I don't think a lot of players know about. From the lore being stellar, to the Crucible finding itself an absolute mess. Trials of Osiris being the most busted, yet balanced place yet, plus the unseen hero all along. These were the exotics that made you feel the world of Destiny. The exotics that made people want to read the lore. The exotics that made you feel like Batman. So yeah, this is Thorn and Last Word. Some footage in this video is from players around the community. Their links will be in the description of this video, as well as the music too. Yes, the origin story of exotic weapons. Starting with the Last Word, this Old West futuristic 6-shooter inspired hand cannon looks like something you'd see in Borderlands with the Jacobs guns. The name The Last Word is likely a reference to the title of an article published in 1929 by Elmer Keith. Keith was a famous revolver marksman and a Magnum cartridge pioneer. With his custom Colt single-action army, Keith himself called the handgun the revolver number 5, but many have also referred to the gun itself as the Last Word. It's a little bit of a history lesson, I know, but giving gravitas to how unique the Last Word is justifies its swagger. Just like how it's one of the only hand cannons that fires from the bottom of the barrel, how it's the only hand cannon to be fan-fired, pulled out, and reloaded like an Old West Clint Eastwood movie. The gun may have a ton of reference to real-life stories, but its own story is one half of a true hero's journey. But the short version is that the Last Word belonged to the hunter Jaron Ward, and the gun takes its name from a standoff duel between himself and a petty tyrant named Loken. After Jaron's eventual death at the hands of the evil named Dredgen Yor, the gun was passed down to Jaron's adoptive son, Shin Malfur, also known as the Man with the Golden Gun. Fun fact, when you pop the Golden Gun Super, the last word is always in hand for this reason. The last word in-game came out with Vanilla Destiny in 2014. Yeah, baby, we're talking about those upgrade damage on the weapon days. The gun had 8 bullets in it and a whole heap of stability, rocking not only perfect balance for that stability crank, but smart drift control, and its original last word perk called, last word. The perk states that you get bonus damage and stability, plus extra precision damage when firing from the hip. Now, it can't be that much damage, right? Oh, did that say 100? Yeah, the last word could hit for 100 damage to the head if the perk was procced, allowing for 2 headshot kills from the hip. Now, the trade-off with last word was having to get close to someone and then take their head off, since it had almost no range. But you could definitely still hit someone a decent distance away, especially ADS. The other problem with this gun is that it kicked like a mule on every single shot, making you have to use it like a shotgun half the time. Last word did 55 to the body, 77 to the head, with 71 to the body and 101 to the head if the perk was procced. This gun dominated Crucible up and down, and on top of that, it dominated Trials of Osiris when it first launched in 2015. Trials was dominated by this hand cannon, and for good reason. You could hypothetically kill all 3 players in one clip of this gun, and for that whole year, this gun's legacy did live up to the lore that Bungie wrote for it. But we did mention another hand cannon. So for now, let's drop this gun and move on to that other hand cannon. A spooky one at that. Before there was Thorn filled with green poison and being a manifestation of evil, there was Rose, a hand cannon wielded by, and don't murder me for saying this wrong, Rezel Azir, a guardian who fought for good. One day, he started hearing whispers and having nightmares, eventually going to the moon and confronting them. He killed many Hive, but started to lose his sanity and eventually parted ways with his ghost and took the name Dredgen Yor, infusing his rose with darkness and murdering innocent people, including Shin Malfur's father, Jaren. Dredgen Yor's rose was now his thorn, and it was hungry only for the light of guardians. The yin to last word's yang, and some dark shit to say the very least. Thorn's exotic bounty was not an easy one to say the very least either. While last word was a random drop from the world, or Xur, voiced by Chris Pratt, the thorn was a community nightmare to finish. The gun was also horrendously underpowered at launch, meaning that nobody really had it to start Vanilla Destiny. The quest alone would take hours to complete and was called a light in the dark. Just beat, the summoning pit strike with our boy Foggy. Then pull a classic,
We've woken the hive,
and kill 500 of these dudes. And then for the real fun part of the quest, 500 guardians killed with Void. 500 guardians with Void kills was awful. There's no way else to say it. The worst part of this step wasn't that every kill counted as 5 points. That was actually pretty good. It was every death losing 2 points that made it awful. So you may pop off at the beginning of a match, right? But then by the end, you start playing bad. Then you're shit out of luck and you maybe progressed 1 or 2 points. If you have a bad game after that, you're losing even more points, dummy. After this eventual pain was over, just hit up our bald sister in the tower, Ikora Ray, and go to the summoning pit strike again. Say what's up. Just massacre a spooky wizard. The same one that turned Rezel into Dredgen, actually. This was actually the easiest enemy in the entire strike. I don't know why. This version was a lot harder than the normal strike and made it a pain to finish for sure. After the strike was done, the thorn, it was now yours. Like I said, it sucked for a while. Barely scraping anyone, poison not being scary, nothing. This thing just kind of sucked. The only part that I really found was cool with this gun was every time you shot it, you could see the thorns sticking into the wall. It's still one of the coolest parts of the entire gun. But it did kind of suck. until update 1.1, which buffed Thorn out the wazoo. Magazine, reload, damage over time, handling, ammo, and stability all got juiced up. The gun had incredible range at the cost of stability, but with this buff, yeah, it was great. And it could 2-tap. Yeah, 2-tap in the Crucible. Remember, there's no healing rifts. Just looking at someone with Thorn and you were seeking out death. After the buff, this thing was hitting an astounding 54 to the body, 81 to the head. But that's not the best part, right? The best part is that it was 6 ticks of 7 damage. And if my math is correct, hold on, let me pull up the calculator. I think that means a lot of damage. It guaranteed a 3-shot to the body and a 2-shot to the head every single time. There was no question. A mess in the Crucible ensued, but the real good versus evil was now in the Trials of Osiris, and the showdown had officially begun. Trials of Osiris debuted with probably the most busted yet balanced meta I have ever seen. Thorn versus Last Word. Think about it like this. There wasn't a lot of ability spam. Just 2 way overtuned hand cannons going at each other's throat over and over again. Reddit exploding every day calling for a nerf on one or the other. Montages going bananas left and right over these 2 guns. I want to stress again that there was balance here in the chaos. On long range maps, the play was to run away from Thorn and not peek at all. Close range maps, the plan was to play away from the Last Word user, or you'd have your head on a swivel. There was something missing though. Holy shit, what is that in the sky?
Yes, my child. I am here to fuck shit up. Now hop on and spin the wheel of fortune.
Hawkmoon! Yeah, I never got to use this bad boy back in its prime, but it was also here to be a menace in Trials for PlayStation players. Hawkmoon already has a video on this channel, but for the short version, this gun was a literal slot machine, having the perk Luck in the Chamber on top of the Hawkmoon perk being another Luck in the Chamber perk. So hypothetically, this gun could one-shot in the Crucible, but it was incredibly rare. What wasn't rare was the damage being solid at 63 to the body, 94 to the head with 84 to the body and 126 to the head with the Hawkmoon perk. Yeah, I think this gun was absolutely insane, but it was also more of a regular hand cannon than the 6-shooter Last Word, which had 8 bullets in it, and the poison laser that was Thorn. It really was the Rayquaza to the Last Word's Groudon and Thorn's Kyogre. Man, if you didn't play Pokemon, that is a stupid ass reference that makes absolutely no sense. The point is that Bungie would have to step in fast here, right? Like they would have to. Well, no, they didn't at all. All 3 of these beasts took over in decimated Trials with Matador 64, Fellwinter's Lie, and snipers like Effort Eats Spear and 1,000-Yard Stare with Final Round, so leg shots rolled people over. What a time to be playing Trials. It was all new, streamers are doing 1v3 games with these guns, and I was just a dumb kid having a blast with a cheesy ass smile on my face the whole time. Then, the great meteor that wiped out all of Destiny 1 Year 1 weapons. Sunsetting hit like a Mack truck in Destiny 1, and all weapons, including exotics, were now gone, only to be found in Year 1 activities and a slew of nerfs too, with all 3 of these hand cannons just getting whacked. Which one was your go-to in Year 1? Thorn, Last Word, or Hawkmoon? And even if you're new to the game, which one do you like the most now? Let me know in the comments. Last Word had its range reduced, stability reduced, reduced ADS range, and lost its crazy hipfire damage. Thorn had its base damage reduced, its damage over time burn reduced to 1/3 of what it was, but did allow more stacks of damage over time to be applied. Hawkmoon lost some RNG, allowing less bullets to hit the Luck in the Chamber perk and reducing the damage of the perk when it got procced big time. I think these nerfs would have been fine if it weren't for the fact that these weapons could not be infused up and that hand cannons in general in the game had this odd change where they just started hitting ghost bullets, completely nerfing them from being used by players in Crucible in year 2.
What are you gonna do? Shoot it with ghost bullets? Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Hey, I'm Casper, the friendly bullet.
Hitting ghost bullets is not a new concept, but consistently not getting credit for hitting a target on top of these nerfs, yeah, these guns were pushed into the ground. So long, Last Word, so long, Thorn, so long, Hawkmoon. May your legacy live on in the next chapter of this video. Speaking of which, all 3 of these weapons did return in one form or another in Destiny 1. And yeah, they were what I would consider balanced by the end, with maybe Last Word being the worst of the 3, but with good practice still very deadly. No longer was Thorn hitting for 6 ticks of 7 damage to the player, but instead 3. No longer was Hawkmoon 1-tapping people, but instead 3 to 4 tapping people. And Last Word, no longer was it a shotgun, more like a fancy hand cannon. Everything was just about balanced, and these 3 were living in a retirement home at peace. Finally, completely balanced, nothing to change here. Destiny 2, baby! Forsaken, Black Armory, Shin Malfur, Last Word in Hand of Guardian, Kill Hive, Kill Guardians in Crucible, Kill Hive Lost Sector, kill more Lost Sector bosses, then get Best Served Cold medals, which is killing the person who killed you, very fun, or you could get Blood for Blood medals, which was earned from someone killing your teammate and then you kill them, kill 50 more Hive, then do this very specific Hive public event on Heroic 3 times, and then there's this really cool mission of you dueling the Hive where you have to like shoot the gun out of the Hive's hands. It's actually really cool. The Last Word finally came back strong after not being in vanilla Destiny 2 at all, and its legacy in Destiny 2 is just odd. It came out terrible for controller players, but insane for mouse and keyboard players. Then it flip-flopped over time to the point where now it's just completely coded differently for Destiny 2, allowing body shots on a controller to count as headshots for some reason. Last Word had some slight tweaks over time, but to say it's nothing short of a beast on controller now and mouse and keyboard back then would be a smack in the face to its legacy. This gun just fucked when it came back to Destiny 2. Next season, with the Season of the Drifter, the other quest came in. Thorn was back by nobody's surprise, and was another PvP quest. You had to go to the salt mine in the EDZ, and there was a hidden path to pick this little guy up out of the ashes. Then just run a bunch of Nightfalls, kill Titans and Warlocks in Crucible, then kill Hunters in Crucible, and then we have a throwback step. 500 points needed to get the next step with weapons. But Void weapons gave a little bit more than everything else. So it was 1 per weapon kill, and then if you had a Void weapon, it was 2 points, but if you had a Void headshot, then it was 3 points. With all of those points being juiced up even more if you were in competitive Crucible. Now, you don't get punished for dying like in Destiny 1, but hell man, this was a grind. If you remember, you got 5 points for a kill back then. Now the max was like 3 in quick play. And yeah, you didn't lose progress, but you also gained a lot less. But there's no summoning pit strike. I'm sorry, Foggy. But there was Sabbathoon's Song until it got sunset. This one was awful to complete. You had your normal modifiers you might find in a special mission like Blackout and Iron, which are already kind of annoying. But then there was a new one and an exclusive one to this mission, and it never came back for a good reason. Harsh Elements, which made you hit for less damage with everything that had an element to it, but the enemies hit you for 3 times more than normal damage with those elements. Like, this one was insane for everyone, so don't feel bad if you didn't beat this mission the first. This one was just, it was hard. Once this one was done though, you got Thorn. Now, this Thorn was super different. Gone were the days of a regular gun, and now were the days of a gun that rewarded you for getting kills. So after each kill, you would go from hitting pretty standard hand cannon damage to being back in the days of hitting 7 tick damage per headshot, and it would restore ammo. Just like Last Word, I love this gun to death and still think it's one of my favorites of all time. But how about you guys? Do you guys rock these things still on the daily, or are we burying these in the ground? Thorn and Last Word are back season after season. So where is Hawkmoon? Lumina. Lumina? What the? Lumina came in the Season of Opulence and had a really cool quest to it. We won't get into the nitty gritty, but this was the original Thorn and showed sort of an alternate world where Thorn could have been a healing gun. In this quest, you not only get Rezel Azir's original hand cannon Rose, which was an insane 150 hand cannon on its own, but also a cured version of Thorn, where instead of poisoning its enemies, it actively seeks to heal them with these little bubbles. I really think Lumina is cool. It gives a great concept for Destiny, and it gives a good story instead of the, bad story that Thorn had. Time jump all the way past the year of Shadowkeep. Like we're skipping that whole year, and we're going straight into Beyond Light, where Hawkmoon returned with its own mission. This mission was called Harbinger and was a try at the secret mission formula, but it was just sort of okay. Harbinger had a gold hawk flying around and feathers to collect for eventual Hawkmoon out of the ending chest. But this Hawkmoon was a random rolled exotic hand cannon. Super out of the ordinary, and it was missing some of the rolls until the end of the season. Hawkmoon was changed to work by stacking the amount of critical hits that you got into the final 2 hits for that possible 1 tap like the OG days. Honestly, it's super satisfying just because, yeah, back in those days it was completely random, but now you can control your 1-hit kill. Even more satisfying might be the stats on this gun. Just look at this behemoth. I cannot make these stats up. This thing is disgusting. I guess the RNG returned in the form of rolls you could get on this bad boy, but I don't really like that concept. Thorn, Last Word, and Hawkmoon. All 3 coined the problems of Year 1 Destiny 1 Crucible, cast aside for the Taken King era, and to be peaceful again in Year 3. To return in Destiny 2 just as powerful as ever, and still dominate the game of Destiny 2 to this day. It's safe to say that these guns are the true kings of the Crucible, and are a representation of good writing going far in the game. What started out as a revenge plot story turned into a constant yin and yang fight in the game. It's these types of guns that keep me coming back to Destiny. You can manifest yourself into these types of guns, and they do change how you approach Crucible completely. Each one of them as characteristically different as they are similar in their times to kill. And with that, that is the legacy of Destiny's most infamous duo turned trio, and that is the video. Thank you to all my patrons. Remember, code Evan at checkout this month, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all, and have a great rest of your day. Holy shit! Dude, look at this! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! I feel like I feel like the fat kid in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Oh my!
Trying to bore her to death. Yeah, I used the same shot on your mom. It almost worked last night.
Get some, bitch!
We'll finish him with melee.
Keep meleeing him, meleeing me.
Alright, let me kill him. Alright, here, come on. Let's beat him up.
The cheese that broke.
Huge.